Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. I know it's a little belated. They say you're only supposed to wish people a Happy New Year like a few days into January, but I've done it even as late as March if it's someone I haven't seen for a while. So I haven't seen you folks in a while, so I wish you all a Happy New Year. I hope your start was better to the New Year than mine. I came down with the flu, COVID, God knows what else. But in any event, we're here, and I want to thank you all. I hope for most of you on the task force that your work situations have improved, generally, of course, but I hope you're in a position to continue the work that we've begun. I warned you a long time ago, this is a long, arduous process. It's like making sausage, and you just keep perfecting the recipe until you hit it just right. Um, Unfortunately, for those of you who cook in the kitchen, um, unlike cooking in a kitchen, developing standards, we require a lot of chefs in the kitchen. And when you have different chefs, different ingredients are added into the recipe, different amounts of those ingredients, the ordering of those ingredients, the technique, even the utensils, the flatware to serve, everything is up for grabs. So, what we've done so far is we have met with both the board and the auditing and accounting policy committees, which is a subcommittee, if you will, of the board. Since this is a technical release that we're looking to issue, it needs to go out as a lower level guidance, but under the auspices of the AAPC. So I briefed the AAPC in November, and they had some interesting observations, and I think some of them did dovetail with what the board also is expecting, and I think what we are expecting to do. So, one of the issues the AAPC brought up was keep materiality, or this issue of P3 reporting, keep materiality in mind, and also the connection to cost benefit relationships. Okay, sure, we want to report material P3s, was the kind of impression I received. However, what is the cost of reporting those P3s versus the benefit? So remember, the benefits are not only to be accrued by the agency or the preparer or the government, but also to people like Mr. Checo, Mr. Helwig, Mr. McHugh, our citizen reps. Okay. Also, benefits accrue to the auditors, the auditing community, because they have to make a determination if the financial statements are fairly prepared in accordance with GAAP. They've got to assess internal controls. So when we think about benefits, it's broader than just me, the preparer. Okay. But again, AAPC brought this out. They were also concerned about our guidance and saying, hey, can you take some of this and make it authoritative, and maybe like the case studies, for example, non-authoritative? Can the task force kind of parse those things out? Yeah, and I think we've discussed that. My executive director made a very good point that the case illustrations that we're developing, even in level C GAAP, will be considered non-authoritative because it'll be an appendix to the technical release. So keep that in mind when you look at the case studies, should we do it again, and I think we will, that, hey, it's not terra firma, okay? This is illustrative, almost educational, if you will. The other thing they brought out was, are there any other amendments? And I want to speak about that a little later, but that was a very good point. Should we make changes to the disclosure requirements or any other aspect of the standard in light of the reporting so far that we've seen? As I said, I'd like to address a bit later in this video clip, but the next observation that was made, which was really good one, we have certain paragraphs, 6 through 8, like their preliminary paragraphs, if you will, introductory paragraphs in Standard 49 that talk about risk. And then in the TR, we kind of talk about, of course, risk being a big issue that many of you have noted. And the commentator just suggested that could we possibly link paragraphs 6 through 8, which are identification of risks that the board said exist, to maybe some of the risks we're addressing in the TR, okay? Or in that template. I think there's a template we have in the TR. I know there is, but I'm saying I don't remember the details. It's been pretty rough, Thanksgiving, Christmas, being away from all of you folks is very difficult, right? Because it breaks up our continuity. So for those of you that do like some rap music, that's kind of how the last quarter was. It wasn't any classical or smooth jazz. It was more like rap. But now maybe we can get into a flow in this new year. So I think the APC provided some really good comments, and we'll talk about some of the more significant ones, if you will, regarding amendments in a moment. The board did, in fact, okay, because I met with AAPC in November. In December, the board did, in fact, agree with an omnibus amendment eliminating that loophole exception in 24B. And that was really good because it's closing a loophole, hopefully increasing the level of reporting, if you will, or at least the efficacy of whatever reporting we are yet to see in the future. So that was a positive development. The board did note they support definitely meeting your concerns about the integration of 47 and 54 with Standard 49. They just want us to be careful. Basically, let's see here, they just want to make sure that, especially with 47, and I'll talk to Team 1 about this, that since 47 is a principles-based standard, we should not, in the TR, kind of set necessarily guidance, if you will. It's a sensitivity, and I know from your point of view as preparers, you want that specificity. I mean, and I'm probably overstating the case, but if I were you, if I were still you, I would almost want the TR guidance to be an operational document. Almost, okay? To the point where I don't have to do much thinking, just put it into practice and let it rock and roll. Now I'm overgeneralizing, of course, but I think what the board is saying is we want to, I guess, keep 47 as a principles-based document. They don't intend making any changes. So don't you go ahead and, kind of upset that apple cart. And I get it. And I think that's something we'll just have to kind of wade through as we go through this. But at the end of the day, my friends, and I know if any board members hear this, please forgive me, but I could just say this. The board understood this when it issued Standard 49, because I cautioned them as well. That, you're making 49 supplemental to 47, and at the time Lisa's guidance wasn't yet issued, and it was like, we're going to have an issue here. So they were aware of it. Now, of course, we have to clean it up. So anyway, that's what happened there from a background point of view, meeting the APC in November, receiving some positive feedback from them, some good criticism, and also then in December the board kind of also doing the same and giving us some advice. Now, internally what I've done, okay, and I wish to thank Brian Robinson, Alan Perry, and Melissa Batchelor for performing an internal review of our technical release, okay? And we're not going to go through the details for two reasons. One, I don't want to keep you too much longer on this video and bore you, right? I don't have any good jokes or anything. And besides, we don't tell jokes as accountants, right? We're all straight-laced. So Brian Robinson did a forming content kind of review of the TR. I asked him to go back historically, look at all the TRs we've issued, kind of make sure that we're not off base with anything. And he did that, and basically he was quite happy. The only thing Brian did note was we didn't have a case study illustration on leases And I understand that. I kind of maybe gave him some kind of response, and you know, but the point is, could we? Yeah, we could. We can certainly do a case study on leases. But again, how far should we go? We have our own swim lane, right, folks? We're trying to issue guidance for 49, not 47, or not 54. Okay, so that's where we have to be careful. But could we come up with a case study? Sure. Um, and when it stays in a swim lane, absolutely. But I do think the Q&As were designed to really do that, and we're going to get to that. So Brian did the form and content review, basically saying we did a good job formatting it, and we're looking pretty good. Um, Melissa Batchelor did a reporting entity review, and Alan did the leases review. Regarding reporting entity, let me see if I have any specific notes here. No, I don't. And the reason I don't is I don't want to bias you in any way. Team 2 will be looking at reporting entity. Right? Or is it? No, leases. Team 1 will be looking at reporting entity. Team 2 will be reporting or looking at leases. So the issue here is for both of your teams, okay? And what I've got on reporting entity, just so you all know, Joseph Baker, Eddie Joe, Bruce, Henschel, Paul at Energy, Angela at Energy, Debbie, and Brandy. That will be our reporting entity team. You will look at Ms. Batchelor's comments specific to, now let me give you some focus here, specific to the Q&A. Those will be pages, and you'll see them, pages 11 through 14. So just work on those 5 pages, okay? She provided some comments, not a whole lot. So now, there are other comments that you will see, and those kind of dealt with her assessment as a very seasoned program manager, that the TR is complex. And I had a conversation with her, and it may have been over email. I just want to be accurate, right? In case you put me up on the witness stand and you cross-examined me one day. It may have actually been in an email exchange where, just her concern was, look, it's a weighty, complicated, dense document. And yes, absolutely, no doubt. Those comments are secondary to the technical. I really want the reporting entity team not to be distracted by stray comments from any of the reviewers. Technical. At the end of the day, this technical release should represent not specifically what you want as a preparer for DoD or Commerce or NASA or GSA. It should be what you believe all of the preparers and even auditors in the community can operationalize and do the best they can in meeting the 49 requirements. Okay? We'll have the auditors that are on the task force and the citizen users play the devil's advocate. But from the point of view of you preparers, don't do what's just best for you, please. You're public servants. If you're not, you're just being a federal employee to your agency and you're not serving the ultimate public. Yeah, I'm older. Yeah, I'm corny. Yeah, I like history. John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. We all forget that. Most of us don't care. I hate to say that. We just only look inward. And let me just stop there. Take your hat off, Dom, right? For FASAB. And I try hard. I go back to the days when I was a director of finance at HUD, CFO, and I put myself in your shoes. That's why people come to me and they respect my advice, because I often, almost always, try to empathize and say, I was there. I had an accountant who we believe committed suicide because of the amount of work she was under and the stress. And let me tell you, the pain and anguish that it costs and that it caused us changed my life. And this is why I try to bring realism to our work and practicality, because there are human prices or costs that are paid. Okay, but with that being said, remember, this is not about just Dom Savini. It's about all of us. It's not just about Jaina, not just about Joseph, not just about Bruce, or even the citizen. It's about all of us. We have to all kind of come together and do what's best for the group, okay? So please, look at those questions, reporting entity team, pages 11 through 14. Lisa's team, you're going to be looking at Alan Perry's comments. Alan too provided other comments. And it's funny because I had asked them both provide technical on the Q&A, and of course, that's fine. I'm glad actually that they provided more comments and amplification of some concerns maybe we've all had, which is good actually, and it was excellent from my point, because it's making me think even more. So you're going to look at Alan's comments 14 through 17. Basically, I want both of the respective teams to look at their responses, and we're going to meet separately to discuss them. So we'll set up some time a little later, maybe this week, but I also want to meet as a task force. So give me some time to think about when we can kind of meet. I'll put out a feeler for some dates maybe, or just pick some dates, and we can record the meeting and then later you go watch it, okay? Something like that. As long as I remember to hit the record button, okay? So the internal reviews. Overall, sharp criticism. We're still going to scrub through a little bit more on the TR. Now, let me get to my overall assessment, okay? I do think we have to address the complexity, the denseness, the weightiness, you choose the adjective, of the TR. We knew from the get-go this thing was heavy, complex. I was always concerned about it, but again, we had to get through the technical. There were a lot of issues raised on 49. A lot of management implementation challenges were raised, and we had to address them. The board wanted them addressed, and we did it. So now no one can complain and say, oh, you overdid it. No, this is what the board wanted. This is what they're going to get. Now, they might say, hey, it's too much food. Well, all right, it's too much food. Don't eat it, Freeze some, put in the freezer, take some home in little doggy bags, have it for lunch, And I think that's what we got to start thinking about. How are we going to, package up some of the food the board can't digest or doesn't want to digest in one meal, all right? So since AAPC kind of echoed the same sentiment, we know, right, that's an issue. So what I'm thinking, I'm thinking out loud, which is kind of dangerous, right? Free association can get some people in trouble. Should we have some additional amendments to simplify Standard 49? Now, Larry Checco, Bob Helwig, Kevin McHugh, forgive me if there's another citizen or two on the board, but I can't remember offhand, forgive me. Auditors, I'm sorry, but maybe Standard 49 is asking preparers for too much. If so, do we offer possible amendments? Now, one thing I'm toying with involves MD&A, and I'll just stop there. It's in the area of risk, okay? I'm toying with an idea. Some of you might already figure it out. Since I'm only toying with it, I don't want to explore it, but it would involve some significant amendments to 49. And again, follow my example. I wrote 49. I advocated for risk reporting. I still believe it should be in there. But to be intellectually honest and fair, I'm also looking at the other side now. Okay? So you do the same thing in your work. Don't do what you want to do. Do what's right. Weigh the other side of the argument. Always, with everything. Okay? And that's why I've been successfully married for 42 years. Well, I think it's successful. You know, you have to ask the missus about her end of the deal, but 42 years it hasn't always been my way. I've always had to adapt and change because, I'm perfect. I know the answers to all the questions, right? Oh, right. So anyway, I'm toying with that idea. We'll explore that a little bit later. I'll be exploring with the board officially. I want the citizen representatives and the auditors to be very attentive to our next few months because it may involve changes. Another thing I'm thinking about with the weightiness of the document is, should we remove the case studies? I'd like to hear your ideas on this. And basically say, you know what? We're not going to give any case studies. If you got a problem out there, you come in with a technical inquiry and we'll look at it case specific and then give you a written response. That would reduce the weightiness of the TR. Does it reduce the informational value of the TR and its implementation of 49 to its sister statements? It sure does. Do I like it necessarily? No, I don't. But I got an issue that people are saying, this is complicated, Dom, so let's look at this. So, should we be entertaining possible amendments to risk reporting and shifting it over to MD&A? Oh, I just gave it away. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, God. Should we be looking at case study removal and just going out with a basic TR, which pretty much would just be a real slimmed down version of the Q&As and the flowchart, and with some commentary, right? Now, it will go out for exposure, so that everybody gets a chance to weigh in. Some may say, change your answers, we don't think they're right, they're technically wrong. How about these questions? You haven't answered any of the real hard questions. We'll go through that whole process, and then we go out with a TR that basically has a group of questions for both reporting entity and leases, and a flowchart. Case studies, I can even make a course out of this. We could do a road show. Some of you preparers may wish to even volunteer for that. I mean, we have a lot of fun. You can ask some of the other task force members that have served as co-presenters on some of our P3 training what they think, but it's a lot of fun, and you get to answer questions from the field. You get some really great stories. Not always. Some agencies are like really quiet when they come to training. You just wonder if they're even listening. So that's why you have polling questions, right? Okay, so let's think about that. Removal of the case studies. So I'm just writing down this. It was something that I forgot to put down in my outline for today. Okay. The last thing we're going to need to do is to close out all the comments that are in the technical release. It's getting that in and of itself makes it a weighty document. Just the comments, right? So don't worry, trust me. I know how to close them out. There's a key that you hit delete and the comment goes away, right? So, but quite honestly, I'll look at them, and make sure, or some of you have got some heartburn with any of the comments from either Alan or Melissa or one another, please let me know. I'm reachable by phone, right? 703-309-4461. Next steps will be to brief the board in April. So come Hades or high water, I am going to definitely come up with an approach to deal with the complexity of the TR. But I really want to hear from you. And that's why I want to schedule a task force-wide meeting, with some, with an agenda. Let me get my head around it right now. But I do want to hear from you. If you have any other concerns or if you have any comments about that in particular, call me. Let's talk about it. So in April, I expect to show the board different options. To be honest with you, I'm crafting them up now. Let me see. What am I thinking of, Dom? Oh, here it is. I got 3 options. I will describe them to you very generally, okay? And you're going to have to be intuitive about this. And you have to also be kind of into football. Option A, the long pass, almost like a Hail Mary. A hint, it's the as-is condition that the TR is in now. It's a long pass. Then I've got another option for the board. It's called the end run, okay? The end run option would be to, again, go with the slimmed down version of the TR, i.e. remove case studies. That would be the end run. Option 3, which I don't think serves many people, okay, that well, unless it's executed properly, would be to drop back and punt. And the drop back and punt would basically require, the board to make some amendments to 49, as we're talking, maybe in the area of risk. And to simplify its requirements. Now, if that's not executed well, that backfires because you're not going to get the risk reporting that P3s inherently have. And the citizen users in particular will be disadvantaged. Auditors might have a difficult time with that. So that's why I call that the drop back and punt. That's kind of like, you're at 4th and 1 and you're like, well, I know I'm down a few points, but maybe we should just punt the ball away instead of trying to eke out the extra yard or 3 inches. We don't want to get hurt. I'm sorry. I'm kind of joking about it, but those are the options, okay? The long pass, keep it as it is, let the community get what it needs, and those that receive it, receive it. Those that don't, they don't, okay? The end run, hey, we know we can't throw the ball, but hey, we can run through. We can do some blocking, we can do some creative running, a little tackling here and there, and we'll be okay. So that leaves us with the last one again, the drop back and punt. So those are 3 options I'm looking at to talk to the board about. I am being as open and transparent as I can be with you because you've been really good with me, helping me craft this document, and I don't want any surprises. This is on video, it'll be recorded for the record, which actually helps me, right? Since I don't like always taking notes, especially at 7:36 in the morning on Tuesday. I haven't even had breakfast yet. Can you imagine? I'm Italian and I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm still in my fasting. Oh my God, if my family in Italy saw this, they would say, oh, Domenico, che sei matto. I'll leave that alone. Listen, have a good day. Expect some other invites to meetings, okay? I am going to put out separate, I think I might put out a separate video for the teams, or I'll just send out an email. I'm not decided yet because I haven't eaten yet. The brain can't work without food, okay? So take care. Happy New Year again. Any questions? You know how to reach me. Bye-bye.